Hello, I'm Beth Joey and welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, welcome, welcome. This is the channel where I paint my face, turn my camera on and talk about some books. I was having to scroll through my Goodreads the other day and I began to really wonder what Goodreads thinks of the books that I've enjoyed and the books that I haven't. I wanted to know what my highest rated books were on Goodreads and what Goodreads thinks of them, as well as what Goodreads' highest rated books are, at least the ones that I've read, and what I think of them. That's what I'm gonna do today. So I've got my top 5, so let's start with number 5, and that is Astrid Parker Doesn't Fail by Ashley Herring Blake. This is my 5th highest rated book with 4.5 stars. As for what this is about, it follows Astrid Parker, who is invited to be the interior designer of a project that is going to be aired on television. Ever since Astrid's life essentially fell apart at the end of the previous book, Delilah Green Doesn't Care, she of course needs the opportunity to rebuild things and get herself back on track. So she takes this offer to redesign the Everwood Inn and work with the family that owns the property. But then she meets Jordan Everwood, who is recruited as like the key carpenter for this project. The tension flies between the two of them and the show writers ask them to play it up, but that tension quickly explodes and changes into romantic tension, and it's just a really amazing sequel to Delilah Green Doesn't Care. I absolutely love this book. What did Goodreads give it? They gave it 4.15 stars. Pretty good, pretty in line. I'm happy with that. Next up, we've got Burial Rites by Hannah Kent. This is number 4 on my top 5, and this book I gave 4.72 stars. It's an absolutely phenomenal historical fiction based on true events happening in Iceland. So it's the story of the last woman to be executed in Iceland, and it's set in 1829. It follows Agnes, the woman condemned to death, the family who's forced to take her in, and the priest she requests to absolve her and bring her back to the light, as they all try to essentially live together and make it work until the day of her death. A really, really beautiful found family story is created. Honestly, this is an incredible, incredible book. I would recommend it to anyone. It is heartbreaking in that it has no happy ending, but it's still amazing. As for what Goodreads rated it, it got 4.03 stars, which I'm not overly thrilled about. I think this is an incredible book. I think it's beautifully written. I think the story is so moving, so I kind of want it to get a better rating than that. So more people should read this and love it. Next up, we've got Heartless by Elsie Silver. This is a book that I read on Kindle Unlimited and I gave it 4.79 stars. This is the second book in a series, but I haven't read the first one, annoyingly, because I didn't realize it was a series. And it follows Cade, who is a single dad who is just desperately looking for a nanny to look after his son Luke while Cade goes off to work on the farm. Cade is a very attractive man and has been really struggling to find a nanny because every woman that he interviews seems to be way more interested in him than in his son, until I believe his sister basically suggests that one of her old friends comes and interviews for the job, and her name is Willow. She's a bit of a free spirit. She hasn't really got her life sorted out, and surprisingly Cade offers her the job, and this really beautiful relationship forms between Willow and Luke, as well as an incredible romance between Cade and Willow as well. I really loved this story. I think it was so much fun. I think it was beautifully told. There was a third act conflict that wasn't really a fight in the traditional sense. It was a different kind of conflict, and the way it was handled was so mature. So I gave it 4.79 and Goodreads has given it 4.44. Again, pretty close, pretty happy with that. Next up, we've got Daisy Jones and the Six. Again, no one's surprised to see this here because I read it recently and absolutely loved it. I gave it 4.93 stars because I think it's incredible in the way that it's told in this mixed media approach, and I seriously recommend the audiobook because it is a full cast narration. As for what this is about, it follows Daisy Jones and the Six, which was an incredibly famous band in the 70s. Their record defined the era. Their albums were on every turntable coast to coast, and this follows the people in that band, reflecting on the experience of that really significant rise to fame and the struggles with addiction and the relationships between all the different members of the band. It follows the band up to the point of the 12th of July 1979 when Daisy Jones and the Six appeared on the stage of the Whiskey for the final time, and the whole world came crashing down afterwards. Goodreads gave it 4.24 stars, so pretty happy with that. And then we've got my top spot for my current highest rated book on Goodreads, and that is It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. This is a rounding out 5 stars, no questions asked. It is an incredibly moving story which follows Lily, who hasn't always had it easy, but that's never stopped her from really working hard for the life she wants. In a sort of chance encounter on the top of a roof after the funeral of a father she had a very, very conflicting and difficult relationship with because of the abuse that her and her mother suffered at a young age, Lily runs into a neurosurgeon by the name of Ryle, and they agree to have a one-night stand, only for Ryle to be promptly called away by the hospital, and Lily chalks this up to a missed opportunity and moves on, until one day Ryle comes into her flower shop and they rekindle the sort of romance that never got started that one night. But it also has this sort of second timeline of Lily recounting her first love after she stumbles upon some letters that she wrote to herself, I think when she was 15, with a boy named Atlas Corrigan, who she happens to run into again at the same time as her relationship with Ryle. It is a fascinating book. I think it is incredibly written. I know people go, oh, Colleen Hoover's like trash or whatever, but I honestly think this is beautiful. And I think the fact that it's inspired by Colleen Hoover's mother's experience adds this level of like realness. I really love this. 5 out of 5 stars. Goodreads has given it 4.29, which I can kind of understand because a lot of people see Colleen Hoover and Run for the Hills and immediately just hate it, but I appreciate the people that gave it a chance and really loved it. So let's flip it then. What does Goodreads think should be my highest rated books based on the average rating? So let's start with number 5, and that is The Deal by Elle Kennedy. I only read this really, really recently. Goodreads has given it an average star rating of 4.26, so pretty high. As for what it's about, it follows Hannah Wells, who is obsessed with this one guy at her school. I think he's a football player, he's gorgeous, he's everything she wants, but he doesn't seem to notice her. So she makes a deal with a hockey player named Garrett Graham to essentially fake date to raise her status at this school and make this football player notice her. Garrett is a bit of a player himself, doesn't believe in relationships, and when one unexpected kiss between Garrett and Hannah sends sparks flying through both of them, Garrett is sort of in this position where he has to prove to Hannah that maybe the man of her dreams isn't the one in her dreams, it's the one right in front of her. It's a really fun book, I won't lie. I had a lot of fun reading it, but I wouldn't exactly say that it's between 4 and 5 star material. I gave this 3.15 stars, and I think part of why it got that lower rating from me is because it wasn't realistic, and I think the writing could be really awkward at times, but based on enjoyment, I can understand why it got such a high rating on Goodreads. At number 4, we've got It Ends With Us. Goodreads gave it 4.29. I gave it 5 stars. We've talked about this one. Then we've got Heartless by Elsie Silver. Again, Goodreads gave this 4.44 stars. I gave it 4.79. Pretty happy with that. Then we've got Gleam by Raven Kennedy, which I kind of wasn't expecting to be so high on this list, but this is the 3rd book in the Plated Prisoner series, starting with Guild. Goodreads has given this 4.46 stars, and it follows the main character whose name is escaping me right now, but it's essentially a King Midas retelling of this woman in gold. Everything about her is gold except for the whites of her eyes and her teeth, and she's been trapped in this palace by King Midas. She is his prize, and in the sort of Stockholm Syndrome kind of situation, she believes herself to be in love with him because she believes he has rescued her and saved her from the horrors of the outside world that she experienced as she was growing up, only for a king from another kingdom to really place seeds of doubt in this girl's head about the truth of her relationship with Midas and the abuse prevalent in this relationship, as he makes a bargain with this king that places her right at the center in a way that she really does not consent to. So this series sort of follows her as she's escaping, I guess, this situation and this unhealthy relationship, and where she ends up with other kingdoms that potentially have a really bad track record but are desperately in love with her. So yeah, it's a good fun series. I only gave this book 3.86 stars because I don't think it's incredible, but hey, I can understand again from an enjoyment perspective why this would be so highly rated. And the highest rated book that I've read according to Goodreads average rating is Saga Volume 2 by Brian K. Vaughan. I was very surprised to see this. I thought that it would be like House of Earth and Blood, or, you know, one of the Sarah J Maas books or something like that, but this one has come out on top with a rating of 4.5 stars on Goodreads, which is really quite high, I think. As for what this series is about, I've only read the first 2 volumes, so I kind of struggled to talk about what it's about, but it seems like it's sort of a Romeo and Juliet inspired tale about 2 people who are from opposing moons that are at war with each other, and they fall in love with each other and have a child together, which places them on the run because they sort of, their relationship, I guess, threatens the war that is raging on between the 2 moons. So it follows their story from the perspective of the child that they have together as she retells what she remembers of their lives, as well as a number of other characters who I presume come into play later on. It is is a series that I am going to continue, but I only gave this book 2.86 stars, and I think a lot of that is because, not that it's not amazing, because I think it is really, really good, but because sci-fi isn't really my thing, so I didn't enjoy it so much. I'm going to continue the series because it's a graphic novel, it's a quick and easy read, and it is kind of fun. There you go. Those are the 5 highest rated books that I've read and what Goodreads thinks of them, as well as the 5 highest rated books according to the Goodreads average rating that I've read and what I think of them. I'm also keen to do a sort of opposite version of this video, which is the lowest rated books, so let me know if that's something you would be interested in the comments down below. Otherwise, let me know if you've read any of these books, what you think of them, if you agree with their Goodreads rating or my rating, or just let me know what you're reading at the moment, loving it, hating it, all that sort of thing. Come and chat to me in the comments down below. I love talking to you guys and I do my best to reply to every single comment. I really, really hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please do let me know by liking, subscribing, and hitting that notification bell all down below. It is a super, super easy way to help my channel grow, and I will see you lovely people in my next video. Bye!